What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome to Warframe video. So, we're going over Helminth Atlas today, and it was actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be, so we'll be going into it. So, before we get into the video, of course, please check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/gaz_ttv. We hang out, have some fun, test some builds, and joke around. Also, make sure you sub to this YouTube channel, hit that bell for notifications, because the videos go up every day, and you sure want to see when they go up, don't you? Alright, so we're going over Helminth Atlas today. And my beautiful fashion frame that was definitely very hard to create. So we have two different abilities we're going to be going over. Rather, we have one ability we're going over, but I'll show you the other option I actually went with in the first place. So we've got Ensnare from Korra, which is going to make it so you rope all the enemies together into one spot, and it makes it really easy to punch them all with Atlas's fists. But we also tried out Larva from Nidus. And the reason I'm going to go with Ensnare from Korra over Larva from Nidus is, first off, like the range on Korra's Ensnare is a little bit larger, and second, there's actually a small problem with the abilities of Atlas combined with Larva. So let's just quickly pause them so I can show you what I mean. So if we petrify the enemies and we use Larva, it will pull on the enemies that aren't petrified, but it will not pull on the enemies that are already petrified. So that's actually anti-synergy as far as I'm concerned. You could actually grab them up first with a Larva and then petrify them. And they visually don't seem like they're petrified, but they actually are, as far as his passive is concerned. They will take additional damage from his fist and drop rubble. So it's just a visual bug that they're not petrified in the Larva. It will still work, but even then, I'm going to go with Ensnare over Larva just for convenience purposes. This also will work through walls, so that's also nice. And yeah, here's the build for the Helminth Atlas. We'll go over some gameplay here in a second. We'll also do a fashion frame guide, just in case anyone wants it. So yeah, we're going to do a full loadout overview here, by the way. So, big thing here. We're going for high range, so we can pull the entire room together. Also make it so we can petrify a huge area and punch a huge area at the same time. So, 250 range. If you want to take off overextended and just go for more damage, that's totally up to you. You would lose a big chunk of range, though. But definitely is an option to take off overextended, or to even take off natural talent for another one of his augment mods like Path of Statues, which will actually petrify enemies where you are punching. And like, I didn't find I had any problem petrifying enemies because they're all getting pulled into one area. So just the 3 and the 4 will both petrify enemies. That's all we went with there. So yeah, basically this, we've got Rubble Heap. This is a very important mod, I'd say. So once you have 1,400 Rubble, and Rubble drops from petrified enemies, you will have no energy cost for your first ability, which we'll be spamming a lot of. It's also going to deal double damage and travel twice as fast. So very important stuff there. Natural talent doesn't affect the casting speed of your 1, but it does affect the casting speed of your 2, your 3, and your 4, which you'll also be casting a lot of. So it definitely saves you a lot of time to have natural talent in here, and I would personally not take it off the build. It felt very nice to use. You do want to have a little bit over neutral. You want to have neutral power strength or above, in my opinion, on Atlas. And if you took off overextended, you'd be having a lot more power strength. High duration is not very important because they're going to petrify for 15 seconds. They're going to die before 15 seconds is up. And they're also going to die before the duration of Ensnare is up. So the combo window is affected by duration on his 1, but we're going to be dealing so much damage it doesn't even matter. We'll put up the max combo really quickly because they're all going to be roped together. Arcane choices here. We have Arcane Energize because we'll be casting so many abilities, and Energize is one of the top tier arcanes. And my personal choice here is Aegis. This can actually proc while you are invincible in your landslide, and will give you shield regen for once you leave your landslide. You're going to basically not be able to die once you leave. So if you didn't want to do that, you want to go for more damage, there's Avenger. Now, Atlas's fists have 5% status chance and 5% crit chance. And they can scale with Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds, but it's only 5% that you're scaling off of. So if you want to make them crit a lot more, something that's additive like this, 45% chance, or 45% increased crit chance for 12 seconds will help a lot. So you can do that. There's also Arcane Fury, which is going to be, whenever you do crit, you have a 60% chance to increase melee damage by 180 for 18 seconds. That will affect his fists as well. So those are the 3 that I wanted to go over. I'd say for max damage, Avenger will be your best bet because he does have a 2x crit multiplier. You also got Rolling Guard. I found this to be enough to just keep you alive all the time. So We're going to go over the rest of the stuff. This is a no Kuva Nucor video, intentionally, just because I think people are getting sick of Kuva Nucor in every single video. Although it is really good, isn't it? So, here is Steel Path Kuva Survival. As you see, the entire room gets pulled together, and they're all dead. So, we're going to be going over everything we're using in the video here. And we're also going to be using Naramon Focus School here. Just because you want to make sure you have the combo counter on your normal melee and your Atlas Fists. And we are actually able to maintain energy with all the stuff we're using here today, including Rubble Heap. So, something you could do, if you wanted to do a alternate to the Kuva Nucor on Atlas, you can actually use a Kuva Ogress for Condition Overload proccing. So here's a Kuva Ogress setup I was just going to show. Now remember, Atlas's passive makes it so he will not get knocked over on the ground, even from explosive weapons. So we've got a utility build here, Viral Heat, and it comes with Impact Puncture. It's also got Blast and Slash on the explosion. So yeah, Watch Napalm, basically a fire area when you fire the rocket. Prime Fast Hands just to make sure you reload faster, because you cannot run the auto reload mod on here. And the rest is just Status Chance mods. That's pretty good. You can basically just like use a Status Chance rocket launcher right in front of your face and make it so you're proccing statuses. Viral is going to be your best bet. Condition Overload does not work on Atlas's Fist, so don't worry too much about running that. An alternative to that as well is you could run the Cyanex, which is going to be another good Condition Overload procker. But this one is also going to stagger you if you're too close to it. So Atlas is great with this one. Viral Heat, Gas, and it will normally stagger you. Like I said about Atlas, you will not get staggered because you will not get staggered on the ground. If you jump in the air, you'll get staggered still. But, you know, he is a rock. He is too heavy to jump, and that's all that matters. For the stat stick, I actually run the Jaw Sword. Now, something to keep in mind with Atlas's Exalted Fist weapons, or Pseudo-Exalted Fist weapons. You do not want to really build for... Well, first off, you don't want to put faction damage on there. It's similar to Korra's. If you watch my Korra stat stick video, it's very similar to that. But unlike Korra, putting crit damage on there is not really going to be super helpful unless you're going the Avenger and like a Darza setup route. We're using Death Cube Prime here with the Energy Generator mod instead of an Adarza. But if you wanted to go like really into crit, which actually technically probably would be better damage, but a little bit less consistent, and more like spiky, you could go crit damage in. So we're going to show the stat stick build right here. So this is what I'm running. It's basically just all raw damage. I have Organ Shatter on here just to test it out, because like I said, 5% crit chance, not too big of a deal. Now, remember, attack speed is also not going to affect your Atlas setup either, but you know what would be pretty good on here, and it's a little bit too gimmicky for my opinion, is Proton Snap. So since he's only got 5% status chance, what this Proton Snap mod does is when you wall latch for 2 seconds, you gain 100% increased toxin damage and plus 50% status chance for 20 seconds. That is additive. So that will make Atlas's Fists have 55% status chance and give you that additional toxin damage. That would technically be one of the best mods for Atlas on his stat stick, but I'm not wall latching every 20 seconds personally. It would be really good if you are okay with that. It would be really good, but I am not okay with that, so I'm not going to do that. Basically, for a stat stick Atlas build, you want to run his. So here's the thing: the behind the scenes numbers for his Fists, they're 100% impact damage. So mods like Prime Heavy Trauma is really good for Atlas's Fists on a stat stick. Everything else should just be raw damage. You could run an additional combo count chance mod if you wanted to, but it's not too big of a deal. So we're just going with raw damage. The Jaw Sword is my stat stick of choice. I have lots of ribbons, or used to have lots of ribbons for it. And the ribbons you're looking for on Atlas going to be plus damage and plus elemental damage. If you had a plus impact roll, sure, but I don't think the Jaw Sword can roll plus impact, so that'll be out of the question for me. And like I said, we're going to do Naramon Focus School just so you can always keep your combo. I don't know if I mentioned that in this take of the video, but the combo counter from your normal weapon and the combo counter from your Exalted Fists, both are going to be taken into account here. So you want to make sure you're building up combo everywhere. So, yeah, very important stuff right there. And then the last things we're going over here, we're going to be going over the companion I chose. So like I said, you could run the Adarza Kavat and Avenger. That would be plus 105% crit chance on the frame that has 5% crit chance on their fists for some reason. If they ever buff Atlas to have good crit chance on his fists, you can definitely change your stat stick loadout. But yeah, if you want to get crits, you basically need to run Avenger and an Adarza Kavat to get that. And that would be some orange crits. And in that case, run crit damage on your setup. But yeah, here's the Death Cube Prime with the Energy Generator mod. So what this does is basically just lets us have a lot of energy for our spamming playstyle, because we're casting a lot of abilities here. Every 10 enemies that the Death Cube shoots at and assists with, it's actually going to drop an energy orb on top of you guaranteed, which is great with Arcane Energize. So the rest of the stuff here is basically just make Death Cube tankier. He didn't die in this mission at all. Good job, Death Cube. I was surprised you didn't die, honestly. So we've got Assault Mode to make sure it will attack something. If you're using the Hellstorm like I am, you want a lower rank version of this that will attack stuff really close to you, not stuff far away, because of the travel time of the rockets. Guardian to restore energy, the shield, and then Primal Instinct to see where the enemies are. Vacuum to pick up loot, etc., etc. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. And then we're using the Hellstrom, like I said. You can definitely use any Sentinel weapon that you want. I'd say mod it for Punch Through if it's not the Hellstrom. But like the general gist of this is it has base heat, and we're modding it for viral heat. So, like I said, no condition overload on Atlas's Fist, so just get the viral and the heat. That's all your damage increases you need. You could definitely mod it for corrosive if you chose to instead. But yeah, viral heat is definitely going to be better for you. So, if you don't have a Riven, you really have lots of options there. It really is not going to change much. Just search status chance, and whatever you feel like throwing on there, just throw it on there. So, yeah, that's basically it. When you rope all the enemies together, the Hellstrom will actually hit enemies in a area. So let's just rope them together and see if the Death Cube wants to attack here. It makes it so it's very easy for the Death Cube to hit them and give you a bunch, because every 10 enemies it hits, it will increase. All right, it's not going to do it. Let's just use Energy Pad then. Rope them all up, Petrify, and the third punch is the one that does the most damage. Now, in mission, it does more, because like I said, you have to stack up your combo multiplier from your melee as well. So, and Snare also is going to make it so it's very easy to stack up your combo multiplier. Once you do that with your normal melee, then you'll just start punching and going out of control. So, build that up. It's definitely easier in mission, to be honest. And then here we go. Lots of crazy damage when they're Viral proc like that. So it's actually really, really good, and I do recommend it. Your golems will mostly be there to draw aggro, so that everything is shooting at you. They don't really do much besides that, but just like run around and look stupid. So the playstyle is basically have your golems running around. You can also AoE Petrify when you cast your golems. Rope enemies together with the two. Petrify that group. Punch, punch, punch. Rolling guard if you are like low on shields, and then just rinse and repeat. You should be able to sustain it for a long time. The damage does scale relatively well. If you're trying to go really, really high levels, you might want to go with the Adarza crit route and see how that goes. But with this was great. So I definitely highly recommend this to you for an Atlas player. Like I said, Larva's fine too, but Larva's a little bit less convenient. You need to be more aware of what you're doing with Larva. And yeah, that's basically it for the video, guys. Hope this was helpful to you. Full loadout guide on Helminth Atlas. Oh, by the way, fashion frame guide. Almost forgot. So we have a pretty expensive Atlas fashion frame setup here. Definitely paid that fashion advisor a lot of plat to create this. So we've got the deluxe Atlas skin, which is pretty nice, if you know what I mean. And then we've got the Atlas Noble animation. The attachments are going to be the Kuva Lich stuff, which was totally worth it. Trust me. Bleeding Body Ephemera, I think that comes from Arbitrations. And we've got the color palette going to be Agony, which comes from the Kuva Lich palette. Beach, which comes from Dog Days, totally worth grinding out. Infested, that comes from Plat. And then Halloween, which comes from Halloween. And the rest of the stuff we've got more Infested and Shamrock, which comes from St. Patrick's Day. So there you go. That's the very important fashion frame guide. I know you guys were clamoring for that one. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time. Hope you had some fun. That's how you hold an Ogress, and peace out, guys.